Chapter 30:21. Slaughter. Hearing Lord Wu's words, the experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom were all jolted awake. Indeed, the other party could easily kill a rank 2 true saint and even slash His Highness the Gold King from hundreds of meters above the ground. Such terrifying combat strength was not something an ordinary rank 1 true saint could compare to. Let's attack together. With so many of us attacking together, he must die. Kill him. The experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom reached an agreement. In the next moment, dozens of figures moved at the same time. There were 32 people who attacked at the same time. All 32 of them were true saint experts. As for the false saints, they did not attack. After all, their strength had reached Jian Wushuang's level. An ordinary false saint could not interfere at all. Moreover, a false saint did not have an immortal body. If they really rushed forward, they would be courting death. But even without these false saints, the 32 true saints alone were already very terrifying. Among the 32 true saints, there were 3 rank 3 true saints, including Gold Mountain Realm Master, River True Master, and Lord Wu. There were 8 rank 2 true saints. Together with Gold King, an expert close to the peak of rank 3 true saint, this lineup was enough to scare people to death. But at this moment, all of them attacked, and all of them were aimed at Jian Wushuang. They all attacked. Jian Wushuang stood in the void, and the 30,000-meter tall Golden Emperor Phantom behind him also looked down at everything in the world with a rich golden light in its eyes. Humph, you want to kill me? I want to see who will kill who. Jian Wushuang snorted coldly and moved instantly. The moment he moved, a large amount of the power of space-time rules swept up, and Jian Wushuang's figure reached its peak in an instant. He is very fast, and his movement is very strange. Everyone, be careful. Gold King warned in a low voice. He had fought with Jian Wushuang before, and he had personally experienced Jian Wushuang's speed. Naturally, he knew how amazing Jian Wushuang's speed and his movement were. However, although he had reminded them that Jian Wushuang was fast enough and that the experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom were on their guard, they were still shocked when Jian Wushuang's speed and movement technique burst out. Swish! 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 One after another, silver light flashed in the void. The speed of the silver light was so fast that the true saints could barely see a silver shadow, but they could not see where Jian Wushuang was. His speed! How can he be so fast? Where is he? Where is he? The experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom immediately exclaimed. Gold King's pupils constricted. His speed is even faster than when he fought with me. Gold King did not know that Jian Wushuang had been holding back his strength during the fight, not only in terms of divine power but also in terms of speed and movement skills. However, even though he had held back, his speed was still much faster than Gold King's. And now, his speed and movement skills were completely revealed. Whoosh! Silver light flashed and appeared in front of a rank 2 true saint in the Magic Note Divine Kingdom without any warning. The rank 2 true saint had just raised his head when he saw an ice-cold and gorgeous sword shadow suddenly lighting up. Space-time swordsmanship, Star Dream, Kai. The sword shadow directly passed through the neck of the rank 2 true saint and then flew out from the other end. No! The rank 2 true saint let out a shrill cry. He felt that his divine body had collapsed, and his divine power was being crazily eroded by a terrifying power, which was the god-burning poison. Under the erosion of the god-burning poison, his divine power had no room to resist at all. In a moment, it was completely eroded, and he died on the spot. But that was not what was truly terrifying. After Jian Wushuang's Star Dream move swept past the neck of the rank 2 true saint, the power of the sword shadow did not weaken. Instead, it continued to fly toward the other 2 rank 1 true saints. Kai! Kai! The same scene happened. The 2 rank 1 true saints died on the spot. They did not even have time to scream. Swish! Jian Wushuang's figure flashed and disappeared again. With a flash of silver light, he appeared on the other side. Swish! 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 The sound of swords entering one's body rang out one after another. The silver light flashed in the void, and sword shadows crisscrossed among the heavy experts. The experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom were like fools. They stood there in a daze as if they were at the mercy of their opponents. In fact, it was not because they were stupid, but because Jian Wushuang was too fast and his movements were too strange. They had no idea where he was. Naturally, they could only be swept by the sword shadows one by one. Oh no! Retreat, retreat quickly! Lord Wu had already reacted in time and shouted at the first moment. The experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom reacted quickly. The moment they heard Lord Wu's shout, they immediately retreated at their fastest speed. In just an instant, these experts had already left the battlefield and returned to the place where they had previously watched the battle. However, when they returned here, they discovered that there had originally been a total of 32 true saints. Including Gold King, there had been a total of 33 true saints who had charged out at the same time. However, in just an instant, the entire process had taken less than 2 breaths. Now, there were only 16 of them. Yes, 16. Half of them were gone, and that half of them had been killed by Jian Wushuang in that instant. How could this be? Monster, he's a monster. It's too terrifying. His speed is too terrifying. We couldn't react in time. In just an instant, in just a single exchange, we didn't even have time to react. He actually slaughtered all 16 of us true saints. If it wasn't for Lord Wu telling us to retreat in time, wouldn't all of us have been slaughtered by him? The surviving true saints, including the many false saints who had been watching the battle, felt their minds go blank. It was as if they had been struck by lightning. There was nothing they could do. The scene just now was too terrifying. The true saints who were lucky enough to survive had also made a trip to the gates of hell. They could not believe that if they had been a little slower, they would also have been killed by Jian Wushuang's sword. At the front of the experts, Gold King and Lord Wu stood side by side, their faces gloomy to the bottom. Gathering 33 true saint experts to surround and kill one person, only to be instantly slaughtered by the other party. No one could accept such an outcome. Chapter 3022. Arrived. The world had fallen into a dead silence. The experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom were still standing in front of Jian Wushuang, staring at him. Their eyes were filled with anger and fear. They had been shocked by Jian Wushuang's strength. At the same time, they also understood why Jian Wushuang took the initiative to expose himself and why he dared to stand there and wait for them to come. Obviously, it was because Jian Wushuang had absolute confidence in his strength. He was so confident that he could fight against or even slaughter all of them by himself. Now, there were still dozens of experts standing in front of Jian Wushuang, including experts close to the peak of Stage 3 like Gold King. However, with so many experts standing together, they still could not do anything to Jian Wushuang. They were even under great pressure, afraid that Jian Wushuang would take the initiative to kill them. What should we do? Lord Wu was carefully thinking about countermeasures. But any countermeasures were useless in the face of absolute strength. Jian Wushuang's strength was there, so it was useless for them to kill him together. Your Highness Gold King, if you and Silver King join hands, can you kill him? Lord Wu could not help asking. Gold King and Silver King of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom were equally strong and had fought together many times. Once they joined hands, an ordinary true saint at the peak of rank 3 would have to retreat. This time, only Gold King came to kill Jian Wushuang. As for Silver King, he did not show up. After hearing Lord Wu's question, Gold King shook his head slightly. No, this man's strength is comparable to a peak rank 3 true saint, and he is good at speed and movement. Even if Silver King joined hands with me, he could barely suppress him, but it's impossible to kill him or suppress him. His soul defense is also very strong. I just used my soul attack, but it didn't affect him much. It's impossible to kill him directly with my soul, an old voice said. It was Soul Master, who was the best at soul attacks among the experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. Soul Master was also a rank 2 true saint, so his soul attack could have a great effect on ordinary rank 2 true saints. Unfortunately, although Jian Wushuang was only a rank 1 true saint, his soul was extremely tough. Most importantly, he had the protection of the exquisite pagoda, so his soul attack could not even shake the exquisite pagoda. Naturally, it had no effect on Jian Wushuang's soul. There's nothing we can do. Unless the king comes personally, no one in the Magic Note Divine Kingdom can do anything to him, Gold King said in a low voice. Lord Wu and the surrounding experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom looked at each other in dismay and secretly gritted their teeth. Although they did not want to admit it, it was the truth. A group of rank 1, rank 2, and even rank 3 true saints could do nothing to the rank 1 true saint in front of them. In the void, Jian Wushuang was still standing there coldly and arrogantly. He held the Blood Mountain sword in one hand and stared at the experts from the Magic Note Divine Kingdom with a hint of disappointment in his eyes. He was indeed disappointed. He had thought that with so many true saint experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom working together, they would be able to give him some pressure. However, that was not the case. He still had not fully displayed his strength and had only revealed a part of it. However, with his speed and agility, the Star Dream move and the God-burning poison, he could easily slaughter the experts in front of him. So many people had been searching for me and had even sealed off this territory. Now that I have taken the initiative to appear in front of you, you only have this much ability. I'm very disappointed. Jian Wushuang sighed. Forget it. I've already achieved my true purpose in this mission. I'm too lazy to bother you anymore. After saying that, Jian Wushuang put away his Blood Mountain sword and turned to leave. But at this moment, buzz! A black cloud suddenly appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. The black cloud contained a large amount of black divine power. The black divine power gathered crazily, and in the blink of an eye, it slowly condensed into a human figure. It was a middle-aged man in a black robe. His face was thin, but he was extremely tall and strong. The middle-aged man had a profound look in his eyes. His eyes were as vast as heaven and earth. There was also a strange black light flashing in his eyes as he looked at Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes when he saw the black-robed middle-aged man who had suddenly appeared. In the void not far away, the experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom also raised their heads and looked at the man. When they saw the face of the man, Lord Wu and Gold King were immediately overjoyed. Monarch! Monarch! Lord Wu and Gold King shouted in unison. Upon hearing this address, the experts from the Magic Note Divine Kingdom were instantly in an uproar. Although they were all experts from the Magic Note Divine Kingdom, they rarely had the chance to see the true face of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom's monarch. But now, they had finally seen him. Greetings, monarch. We pay our respects to the king. Many figures immediately bowed down, their voices filled with worship and reverence reverberating through the world. The gazes of the experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom turned fiery. The Magic Note King had used his great means to create a great divine kingdom. He was a famous peak existence in the endless territories. Such an expert was naturally awe-inspiring. This was especially so for the experts within the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. Many of them had grown up listening to the legend of the Magic Note King. Some of them had even followed the Magic Note King to expand his territory and had personally witnessed the Magic Note King's rapid rise. Hence, they had a blind admiration for the Magic Note Divine King. And now, the Magic Note King had personally descended and appeared in front of them. The king has actually personally descended. That's great, the king has personally arrived. This time, that person won't be able to act arrogantly. I admit that this masked man's strength is terrifying, but no matter how powerful he is nothing in front of the king. The king is a 4th level true saint, and he became a 4th level true saint a long time ago. Let's see how the king will kill the masked man. He is dead. The experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom were discussing in whispers. They had no doubt about the strength of the king. Although Jian Wushuang had shown great strength in this battle, and even Gold King was no match for him, they did not think that Jian Wushuang could escape from the king, because it was impossible. Chapter 3023. Magic Note King. The black-robed middle-aged man who suddenly appeared in the void looked at Jian Wushuang calmly with a cold expression. Although he did not speak or show any signs of wanting to attack, just standing there still gave Jian Wushuang great pressure. Such great pressure! If I'm not mistaken, he must be the king of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom, Jian Wushuang murmured. He knew very well that in the entire Magic Note Divine Kingdom, only the king of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom could give him such great pressure. I didn't expect that the great king of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom would personally come here. Jian Wushuang frowned slightly. In his opinion, although he had caused a great disturbance in the Magic Note Divine Kingdom, the king of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom would personally ask about it. However, he would only ask about it. He would not personally come out or make a move. But now, the king of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom had come out personally. Jian Wushuang did not know that the king of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom did not intend to make a move. However, although he did not make a move, he could see what had happened through the dragon imprisoning compass. When he saw the battle between Jian Wushuang and Gold King, he was already shocked when he defeated Gold King. Then, when he saw Jian Wushuang slaughter 16 true saints in an instant while being surrounded by experts from the Magic Note Divine Kingdom, the Magic Note King could not sit still. The dragon trapping compass was a treasure he refined. He directly controlled the dragon trapping compass to open a space passage so that his original body could arrive here as soon as possible. After a long silence, the black-robed middle-aged man in the void, the Magic Note King, finally spoke. "Tell me your name." "Heavenly Sword Marquis," Jian Wushuang said directly. "Heavenly Sword Marquis." The Magic Note King's expression changed slightly, but he clearly did not remember this name. "You were able to defeat Gold King as a rank 1 true saint and even left dozens of true saint experts in the Magic Note Divine Kingdom helpless. You are definitely not an unknown person. If I'm not wrong, you must be from the 3 palaces of Heaven Cleaving Alliance, and not the Heaven and Earth Palace. You are most likely from the Primal Palace." Heaven Cleaving 3 palaces. Many experts from the Magic Note Divine Kingdom were stunned. They were all experts above the Immortal Saint realm and knew of the Heaven Cleaving 3 palaces. At the same time, there were also people who had heard of the Heaven Cleaving 3 palaces. They knew that it was where many geniuses of the Heaven Cleaving 3 palaces cultivated. Now that they heard what the Magic Note King said, these experts immediately understood. That's right, it must be the Heaven Cleaving 3 palaces. Only those genius monsters in the 3 palaces have such terrifying strength. A rank 1 true saint has the battle strength of a peak rank 3 true saint. Only the 3 palaces of Heaven Cleaving have such a monster. The level of the Heaven and Earth Palace is the lowest in the Heaven Cleaving Alliance. The skills displayed by this person have indeed exceeded the level of the geniuses of the Heaven and Earth Palace. The experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom began to discuss. They all thought that Jian Wushuang came from the Heaven Cleaving 3 palaces, and it was very likely that he came from the Primal Palace. After all, there were strong and weak geniuses. The geniuses of the Heaven and Earth Palace could also cross ranks to challenge others, but it was not too outrageous. For example, Jian Wushuang had met 3 geniuses of the Heaven and Earth Palace, Chen Chen, Long Yun, and Shui Yu. Among the 3, Chen Chen had fought with him face to face. Chen Chen was clearly a peak false saint, and he had just broken through, but his battle strength was enough to rival a rank 2 true saint. Although Long Yun had never fought with Shui Yu, he had heard from Long Yun that Shui Yu was only a rank 1 true saint, but his battle strength was enough to rival a rank 3 true saint. It could be said that the geniuses of the Heaven and Earth Palace could challenge those of a higher rank. A rank 1 true saint like Shui Yu who could rival a rank 3 true saint was considered a powerful figure in the Heaven and Earth Palace. Jian Wushuang was also only a rank 1 true saint, but the strength he displayed now was already comparable to a peak 3rd level true saint. Obviously, he was much more powerful than Shui Yu. Naturally, the experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom all thought that Jian Wushuang was at least a genius from the Primal Palace. Hearing their words, Jian Wushuang felt a little amused. "I'm not from the Heaven Cleaving 3 palaces," Jian Wushuang said directly. "How is that possible? The Heaven Cleaving Alliance should have found out about such a peerless genius like you long ago, and they must have sent an invitation to you," the Magic Note King said. "Yes, the Heaven Cleaving Alliance did send me an invitation to join the 3 palaces. They invited me twice, but unfortunately, I rejected both times," Jian Wushuang said directly. "Rejected?" The Magic Note King was stunned. "You rejected the invitation of the 3 palaces?" The Magic Note King was a little surprised. He had heard about the authority of the genius disciples of the 3 palaces. It was a place that countless geniuses in the divine beginning world yearned for. Many geniuses at the monster level would fight to enter the Heaven Cleaving 3 palaces, but this heavenly sword Marquis had received an invitation, but he had rejected it? Magic Note King, whether I am a disciple of the heaven-cleaving three palaces has nothing to do with you, right? Jian Wushuang asked in a clear voice. Of course it does. Magic Note King's voice became cold again. If you were a disciple of the heaven-cleaving three palaces, I might not dare to kill you because of the heaven-cleaving alliance. I would at most give you a punishment. But now that I have asked you and you have denied that you are a disciple of the heaven-cleaving three palaces, and I have recorded all of this with the mirror token, the heaven-cleaving alliance will have nothing to say even if I kill you now. Even if you really are a disciple of the heaven-cleaving three palaces, as long as you have denied it, I can kill you. So that's the reason. Jian Wushuang understood, but then he smiled and said, Magic Note King, aren't you a little troublesome? As the king of the divine kingdom, if you want to kill me, just kill me. Do you have to worry so much? Jian Wushuang's words were obviously sarcastic, but the Magic Note King was not angry at all. What a joke. Heavenly Sword Marquis was obviously from the heaven-cleaving alliance and was so talented. It was reasonable for him to have some misgivings. Even if it spread, no one would laugh at him. On the contrary, if he knew that Jian Wushuang was so talented, if he did not have any misgivings, people would laugh at him and say that he was stupid. It had been many years since the founding of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom, and he had experienced countless hardships. However, he was able to survive, and the Magic Note Divine Kingdom was able to survive. In addition to his own tyrannical strength, the most important thing was that he knew what to do and who not to provoke. If Jian Wushuang was really a disciple of the heaven-cleaving three palaces, he would never dare to kill him. But now, he had nothing to worry about. Chapter 30-24, Rank 4 True Saint Heavenly Sword Marquis, you have massacred wantonly within my Magic Note Divine Kingdom. At this point, just the number of true saint experts that have died at your hands has already exceeded 20. If I do not kill you today, how can I intimidate this great divine kingdom? Even if word gets out, others will probably think that my Magic Note Divine Kingdom is easy to bully. So, go to hell. The voice of the Magic Note King was cold and emotionless. As soon as he finished speaking, he slowly raised his right hand. As soon as he raised his hand, a strong rule power gathered and formed a pitch-black light beam in the blink of an eye. The pitch-black light beam did not seem to have any power at first glance. However, as the Magic Note King pointed out, the moment the pitch-black light beam burst out, a strong sound of air being compressed and completely penetrated resounded through the void. This is the power of the dark principles. Jian Wushuang's pupils suddenly constricted. He naturally did not dare to underestimate the Magic Note King, who was a rank 4 true saint. Now, the Magic Note King had used the power of the dark principles perfectly. The pitch-black light beam burst out from his finger contained extremely terrifying power. Without any hesitation, Jian Wushuang surged his divine power. The 30,000-meter tall golden emperor phantom behind him, with its golden eyes, emitted a terrifying golden light. Jian Wushuang raised his right hand. In an instant, the Blood Mountain sword suddenly fell down with boundless divine power. The Blood Mountain sword was blood-red in color. When it fell, it was like a swift and fierce blood-red thunderbolt that fiercely smashed into the black light beam. However, as soon as the two collided, Jian Wushuang was shocked by the terrifying impact force contained in the black beam of light. Then, his divine body shook, and his body flew backward like a cannonball. He kept rolling, and it took him a long time to get rid of the impact force. In the void, Jian Wushuang regained his balance, but it was obvious that he was in a sorry state. What a terrifying power! This power is too strong! Jian Wushuang exclaimed. He had just released all of his divine power. After the battle with Gold King, he knew that his divine power had reached the level of a true saint at the peak of rank 3. With the divine punishment god, his divine power had almost tripled. It should have been above a rank 3 true saint. However, he had been defeated by the Magic Note King in an instant. As expected of a rank 4 true saint. Even a casual finger of the principle is extremely terrifying, Jian Wushuang thought to himself. Your divine body didn't collapse after taking my finger head-on. It seems that not only your combat strength is good, but your body protection ability is also excellent. The Magic Note King continued to stare at Jian Wushuang. If a genius like you grows up in the future, you will be terrifying. Unfortunately, although your skills are good, you are trapped in my dragon-imprisoning compass formation and have no chance to escape. No matter how strong your body protection ability is, you can only block 1 or 2 or 3 of my attacks. If you attack too many times, you will definitely not be able to block them. In the end, you will still die. Dead for sure. Jian Wushuang laughed, with a hint of mockery in his voice. Not long ago, your men said that I would die today, but what happened? They did, and so did you. As for escaping, you think too much. Since I showed up, I have never thought of escaping. Your men are not qualified to let me escape, and neither are you. Jian Wushuang's cold voice slowly echoed in the world. Soon as he finished speaking, he activated the star power in his body. 7-star Secret Skill, Volume 3. As soon as he activated it, the divine power aura on Jian Wushuang's body began to increase at a terrifying speed. He was only an ordinary first-rank true saint, and it was obvious that he had just made a breakthrough. However, in the blink of an eye, his divine power had reached the peak of a first-rank true saint, and in the end, it had even reached the limit of a first-rank true saint. His divine power aura soared, and the strength of his divine power reached a whole new level. In addition, a layer of dark gold armor appeared on his body. He had also used the 9 luminaries star armor. After using the divine punishment, my divine power has reached the limit of a rank 3 true saint. I'm almost at the threshold of a rank 4 true saint. After using the 7-star secret skill, my divine power will definitely reach the threshold of a rank 4 true saint. I'm not weak among rank 4 true saints. Finally, I'll use the 9 luminaries star armor. Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes. Although the 9 luminaries star armor heavenly armor would not increase the strength of his divine power, this secret skill would directly increase the power of his attack. Moreover, it would increase the power of his attack by 9 times. This also meant that his divine power would increase by 9 times. This secret skill was too terrifying. When these secret skills are combined, my current attack power is far stronger than that of an ordinary rank 4 true saint. I might even reach the peak of a rank 4 true saint. Jian Wushuang's eyes sparkled. It's true that the Magic Note King is a rank 4 true saint, but he hasn't reached the peak of a rank 4 true saint yet. I'm afraid that his power is weaker than mine. Come on, let me see how powerful a rank 4 true saint is. Jian Wushuang let out a fierce shout, but his body instantly rushed out. At the same time, a terrifying aura completely pressed down on the Magic Note King. You're courting death. The Magic Note King was also shocked and angry. With a cold voice, he waved his hand and a black hammer appeared. The black hammer was surrounded by a large amount of dark rule power. As he took a step forward, the black hammer instantly smashed out. Boom! It was like a black meteor streaking across the sky. Jian Wushuang also waved the Blood Mountain sword in his hand. With a swing of his sword, a sword light suddenly lit up. The sword light was also silent, but the moment it lit up, it roared. A faint roar of a fierce beast echoed in the world. It was a sword light, but in the blink of an eye, the sword light turned into a huge and ferocious beast head. Space-time sword art, Xianxia. The same Xianxia sword art, but with Jian Wushuang using several secret skills at the same time, the power of the sword had increased by many times. In the blink of an eye, the sword light collided with the black meteor. Clang! With a loud sound, Jian Wushuang's body shook violently, and then he was smashed down. Obviously, Jian Wushuang was still completely crushed by this collision. Chapter 3025. Something was not right. So powerful. Jian Wushuang's figure rose up again, but his heart was still full of shock. From the collision just now, he could feel that the Magic Note King was indeed not as powerful as him in terms of strength and power, but the Magic Note King was much more powerful than him in terms of rule comprehension and the absolute arts he created. For example, although the sword skill Xianxia was an absolute art that focused on power, it was only at the 2nd level. The Magic Note King was a genuine rank 4 true saint, and the absolute arts he had created were all at the 4th level. There was a gap of 2 levels in absolute arts. Even though the Magic Note King's divine power was inferior to his, he could still crush him in a real fight. If Jian Wushuang was merely shocked by the strength of the Magic Note King, who was a rank 4 true saint, then the Magic Note King was extremely shocked at this moment. I only used divine power and the power of the rule of darkness to attack him. It's normal that I was unable to defeat his divine body. However, I used my own magic weapon and absolute art to attack him. Although I was able to defeat him, I was still unable to defeat his divine body. The Magic Note King's face darkened. It seems like I'll have to spend some effort to destroy his god body. As soon as he finished speaking, Magic Note King flipped his other hand, and a black hammer appeared. 2 black hammers were held in Magic Note King's hands, each of them giving off a terrifying aura. Dark meteor fall. The Magic Note King's eyes turned cold, and the endless power of the rule of darkness surged from his body. Rumble. The world was completely dark, as if it had fallen into darkness. In the endless darkness, the 2 meteors slid down in an instant. With an invincible momentum, they smashed toward Jian Wushuang. Heaven and earth shook. In terms of power, either of the 2 meteors was much more powerful than the sledgehammer that the Magic Note King had just swung. This move was the strongest move that the Magic Note King had created over a long period of time. If it was at the general level, this move was an advanced level rank 4 secret skill. It was personally executed by the Magic Note King, so the power of this move could only be described as terrifying. This hammer. Jian Wushuang widened his eyes. He could feel the shocking power of the 2 meteors. In an instant, a supreme sword essence burst out from his body. This sword essence came from the supreme sword essence of the Blood Mountain sword. The sword essence soared into the sky and swept out. Jian Wushuang himself transformed into the master of sword principle. With the support of this sword essence, his overall battle strength rose to another level. Xianxia. Without pausing for a moment, Jian Wushuang directly performed the first move of Xianxia. The sword light swung out and collided directly with the 2 streams of light. However, when the 2 collided, Jian Wushuang already felt a huge force coming at him. This force suppressed his Blood Mountain sword and made his arms bend. Then the stream of light crushed the Blood Mountain sword and continued to hit his divine body. Bang! Jian Wushuang groaned. He licked his throat and almost spat out a mouthful of blood. His divine body began to tremble crazily. His internal organs trembled, causing great damage. However, the damage was quickly repaired by his divine power. Whoosh! Jian Wushuang was sent flying again. Your divine body is really amazing. As expected, in addition to the high-level protective armor you're wearing, you must have cultivated a very powerful body-refining secret skill. Otherwise, your divine body would not collapse under my attack. The Magic Note King stood high in the sky. He looked down at Jian Wushuang. However, although your divine body did not collapse directly, you suffered a serious injury under my hammer. Although you've recovered now, it must have consumed a lot of divine power to repair such a serious injury. You might be able to withstand such a scene once or twice, but if you do it a few more times, I'm afraid you won't be able to withstand it. The experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom who were watching the battle nodded in agreement. They could tell that Jian Wushuang had been severely injured, but he had fully recovered with his immortal body and divine power. However, it would take a lot of divine power to recover from such a serious injury, and it would take a lot of divine power to recover after a few more rounds. When his divine power was exhausted, he would definitely die. Magic Note Kingdom, you talk too much nonsense. Jian Wushuang's eyes were cold, and his voice was extremely cold. If you want to fight, then let's fight. After saying that, Jian Wushuang rushed out again. Without any intention of retreating, he rushed toward Magic Note King. Even though he knew that he was no match for Magic Note King, he did not hesitate to wield his long sword and perform the Xianxia move. He wanted to fight head-on with the Magic Note King and determine the outcome of the battle. You're courting death. The Magic Note King laughed disdainfully when he saw this scene. The 2 black sledgehammers in his hands smashed out again. The same scene happened again. Jian Wushuang was still sent flying and his divine body was seriously injured again. However, after he regained his balance, Jian Wushuang did not back down at all. Instead, he continued to charge forward ferociously. Bang! 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 The two collided repeatedly. Each time, Jian Wushuang was completely crushed and his divine body was heavily injured. However, he did not seem to care at all and continued to charge forward after repairing it with divine power. Just like that, they collided again and again. At first, the Magic Note King thought that Jian Wushuang was reckless. However, after the repeated collisions, the Magic Note King vaguely sensed that something was amiss. No, Jian Wushuang is so talented and can become an immortal saint. He is not a fool. He knows that he is not as strong as me, but he still insists on fighting me head-on. It's too strange to compete with my strength. Magic Note King frowned. It was indeed strange. He had long seen that Jian Wushuang was comprehending the space-time principles. The space-time principles focused on speed, but it was not very good at strength and power. Jian Wushuang's speed and movement skills were so amazing that he should have made full use of his advantage in speed and movement skills. But what was the result? Jian Wushuang had only used his swordsmanship to fight against him blindly, and every time he collided with his divine body, he was seriously injured, but he did not stop at all. This was certainly suspicious. This kid must be planning something. There must be something that I haven't noticed yet. The Magic Note King narrowed his eyes. Chapter 3026. Upgrade. This kid must be planning something. There must be something that I haven't noticed yet. The Magic Note King narrowed his eyes and began to observe carefully. Bang! Another head-on collision. Jian Wushuang was sent flying as usual and his divine body was seriously injured again. However, after this collision, the Magic Note King's expression suddenly changed. No, the power is not right. It's the same swordsmanship, but the power of his sword seems to be a little better than the first one. Yes, it is a little better. The Magic Note King finally noticed it. Jian Wushuang seemed to be sent flying and trampled by the Magic Note King, but the power of Jian Wushuang's sword was also increasing. It was indeed increasing. It's not his divine power that is getting stronger, but his swordsmanship. His swordsmanship is getting stronger. The Magic Note King suddenly raised his head, a rare look of surprise on his face. He finally understood why Jian Wushuang was acting like a fool, blindly clashing with him again and again. He is using me to improve his swordsmanship. A fierce light flashed in the eyes of the Magic Note King. Do you feel it? Jian Wushuang smiled coldly. Yes, just as the Magic Note King had guessed, he was improving his swordsmanship. He had meditated in seclusion for 120 years and created two great swordsmanships. One of them, Star Dream, was already in its embryonic form. It was also a third-level absolute art. It was fast, had amazing cutting and tearing abilities, and could kill at close range. This move was of great help to Jian Wushuang. He had relied on this move to kill so many true saints in the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. However, Star Dream was not suitable for a confrontation of power. The move, Xianxia, was a move that truly valued power. Unfortunately, although Jian Wushuang had created this move, it was still a distance away from the embryonic form of the sword technique. In other words, this sword technique had not been truly completed and was still in the stage where it could be reconstructed and perfected. However, in order to perfect this move, he needed to constantly fight with others, and it was best to fight head-on. Therefore, when he fought with Gold King previously, he initially tried to use the Xianxia swordsmanship to fight Gold King head-on. However, Gold King's strength was too weak and could not give him much pressure. Therefore, when he fought Gold King head-on, his swordsmanship could not be improved much. But it was completely different when he fought with the Magic Note King. The Magic Note King was a rank 4 true saint. The most powerful skill he created was an advanced rank 4 skill, which also focused on strength and power. In a head-on fight with such an expert, even if Jian Wushuang used all of his secret skill cards and used the Xianxia move, he was still completely crushed. This gave Jian Wushuang an opportunity. That was why he kept fighting head-on with the Magic Note King in a seemingly silly manner. While fighting, he was constantly pondering the shortcomings of the move Xianxia. During the process of the collision, he was constantly improving this sword skill. Until now, after dozens of collisions, he had really improved this sword skill a lot. Unsurprisingly, The move of Xianxia had reached the level of the peak of stage 2 and was still improving. Ha ha, awesome. Awesome. Magic Note King, let's try again. Jian Wushuang's hearty laughter echoed in the heaven and earth, and he rushed toward Magic Note King again. Damn it! Magic Note King's face immediately darkened. In the surrounding void, the immortal saints of the Magic Note King gathered together and watched the battle attentively. During this time, they also discussed among themselves. As expected of the king, his strength is too strong. The battle strength that Heavenly Sword Marquis displayed before was already at the peak of rank 3 True Saint realm. I didn't expect him to have so many tricks up his sleeve. Now that he has used so many tricks, his battle strength is probably close to that of a rank 4 True Saint. Even so, he still has no room to resist in front of the king. He is completely crushed by the king. Humph. Humph, this Heavenly Sword Marquis is really cheap. He was completely crushed by the king, and then he was trampled by the king, but he still laughed so happily. That's right. If I were him, I would have thought of a way to escape long ago. If he continues to fight like this, I'm afraid that his divine power will be completely exhausted before long, and then he will definitely die. The immortal saints were chatting and laughing. They all thought that Jian Wushuang was a complete idiot and also praised the strength of the Magic Note King. But at this moment, shut up! A low shout suddenly sounded. The immortal saints were shocked and immediately looked at Gold King, who was shouting in a low voice. Haven't you noticed that something is wrong? Gold King said in a low voice. Wrong. The immortal saints looked at each other, puzzled. A bunch of idiots. Gold King said in a low voice, do you think that Heavenly Sword Marquis is really stupid? He knew that he couldn't defeat the king, but he still foolishly kept clashing with him? Ridiculous. Didn't you notice that the power of the sword technique that Heavenly Sword Marquis displayed was steadily increasing after clashing with the king? What? His swordsmanship is increasing. How is this possible? The immortal saints were shocked and looked at the battlefield carefully in the next moment. When they saw this, many people's pupils shrank. They also saw that the head-on collision between Jian Wushuang and the Magic Note King was completely crushing. Jian Wushuang was completely crushed. However, after dozens of collisions, Jian Wushuang was still crushed, but not as easily as before. After several more collisions, the unique skill of the Magic Note King could not even crush Jian Wushuang. A third-level unique skill. The sword skill that Heavenly Sword Marquis used when he fought with me was only a relatively strong second-level unique skill, but now the power of his sword has exceeded the scope of a second-level unique skill. He has already touched the threshold of a third-level unique skill. That is to say, during his confrontation with the king, he raised his sword technique Absolute Art student from a rank 2 Absolute Art to a rank 3 Absolute Art, and he is still improving. When Gold King said this, his body could not help but tremble. The surrounding people were completely stunned. Chapter 30:27. Xianxia. Gold King's words stirred up a huge wave in the hearts of the experts from the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. How long had the Heavenly Sword Marquis fought with the Magic Note King? Even if they had clashed head-on, they had only clashed dozens of times. In such a short period of time, had the power of his sword techniques increased? From a rank 2 Absolute Art to a rank 3 Absolute Art? Was this not too terrifying? Monster. A real monster. The experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom could not help but exclaim. Even the Magic Note King had an extremely interesting expression on his face. The power from his sword is getting stronger and stronger. Even if I used my strongest move, I wouldn't be able to completely crush him. Furthermore, his sword technique level is still increasing. The Magic Note King's eyes were filled with shock. Moreover, he has collided with me so many times. Previously, his divine body was heavily damaged and it took a lot of divine power to repair it. However, after dozens of collisions, his divine power is still abundant. What's going on? Even the Magic Note King was baffled. He did not know that Jian Wushuang was immersed in comprehension as he collided with him. No, my swordsmanship has improved a lot after clashing with each other and has reached the threshold of the third-level Absolute Art. However, I still feel that I'm missing something very important.
Jian Wushuang muttered.
Now, because of the soaring power of his swordsmanship, he was not as crushed as before when he fought with the Magic Note King. He was only slightly suppressed. At this moment, he was carefully observing the hammering skills of the Magic Note King. The two black hammers wielded by the Magic Note King contained extremely dense dark rules. The power of the two hammers was also extremely powerful and extremely swift. However, Jian Wushuang soon noticed something else amidst the swift and fierce movements.
Is this evil energy?
Yes, it's the gas. I see, I know what I lack in swordsmanship, is this kind of indomitable, invincible hostility. Jian Wushuang's eyes suddenly lit up, and his heart suddenly opened up. After all, he was comprehending the principles of time and space, which were very elusive and not as violent as the fire and thunder. However, Jian Wushuang had created the Xianxia swordsmanship, which was a move that focused entirely on power. How can there be no hostility?
Rage, rage.
I'm going to make my swordplay violent. Jian Wushuang's eyes glittered with golden light. The next moment, the sword style in his hand began to change invisibly. That long sword cleaves out, in an instant shocking power swept, a strong evil spirit swept out, the power of the sword also immediately increased a lot.
Bang! 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 Bang!
The Magic Note King's face became more and more unsightly. His swordsmanship is becoming more and more powerful, and its power is increasing faster and faster. His sword form is also becoming more and more violent. The Magic Note King stared at Jian Wushuang. At first, when he used his most powerful skill, Jian Wushuang could not resist him at all. He was just one strike away from destroying his divine body. Then, even if the power of Jian Wushuang's swordsmanship had increased a lot, he could still easily crush him. Just now, although the power of Jian Wushuang's swordsmanship had increased to the level of a rank 3 absolute art, it was still inferior to his. He could still suppress it. But now, Jian Wushuang waved the same swordsmanship again. Although it was still a little inferior to his, it was enough to put some pressure on him. The improvement speed was incredible. Most importantly, the improvement speed was still going on. Suddenly, this is the time. Jian Wushuang's eyes suddenly burst out with a shocking light. The 30,000 feet tall golden emperor phantom behind him also flashed with endless golden light. Roar! A deep, angry roar suddenly came from heaven and earth. Jian Wushuang also slashed out with his sword, but the instant he did so, the sword light directly turned into a complete and huge ancient exotic beast. This ancient exotic beast was extremely ferocious, and it was filled with a fierce aura. With a shocking power, it directly attacked. The Magic Note King seemed to have noticed the increase in power of this sword, and in fear, he also swung her two hammers again. Dark meteor shower. Hong! Hong! The world immediately turned dark. Under this boundless darkness, two dark rays of light instantly descended, and in the blink of an eye, they collided head-on with the ancient strange beast. Pang! A loud sound shook the world, and the surrounding void stirred up endless waves. A huge shock wave swept out without restraint. In the middle of the collision, the Magic Note King opened his mouth slightly. He was purely shocked because he had already felt the power coming from his sledgehammer. The power was actually above his. Boom! The void was about to explode, and the Magic Note King staggered back a few steps. As for Jian Wushuang, he was still standing there as if he was not affected at all. He was pushed back. The Magic Note King was pushed back. How is it possible? Impossible. The king was pushed back by a head-on collision. The experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom who were watching the battle widened their eyes in disbelief. Even the Magic Note King himself was completely stunned. As for Jian Wushuang, he stood in the void with a sword in one hand, looking at the long sword in his hand with great excitement. How can a sword technique that focuses purely on power not be filled with evil energy? Only indomitable evil energy can create an unstoppable attack. Only such a sword technique can be considered complete. Jian Wushuang could not help clenching his fist. After the repeated head-on confrontations and clashes with the Magic Note King, the sword skill Xianxia created by him was finally perfected. Since then, besides the Star Dream, Jian Wushuang had created the embryonic form of the second sword skill. This sword move of mine should have reached the level of a peak stage 3 secret skill, but it has an amazing evil aura. It's no longer suitable to be named Shi Xiong. Instead, it should be named Evil Xiong, Jian Wushuang thought to himself. Evil Xiong. This sword move had a complete framework and could become the embryonic form of swordsmanship. And just now, he had relied on this sword attack to force the Magic Note King back. This was the first time he had defeated the Magic Note King in a head-on collision. Moreover, this was not the least bit fancy. If there was not the slightest bit of luck, it was purely a victory in terms of strength. Just like the Magic Note King, he was now completely stupefied. Chapter 30-28, They Deserved to Die. Peak of Rank 3. His sword skills just now have reached the level of peak of rank 3. The Magic Note King was so shocked that he did not know what to say. At first, it was only a level 2 skill, not even a peak of rank 2 skill, but because of the short fight with him, it directly reached the level of peak of rank 3 skill. Magic Note King, I should thank you. Without you as my sparring partner, it would not be so easy for me to upgrade my sword technique. Jian Wushuang looked at Magic Note King with a faint smile. Magic Note King let out a sigh of relief and finally calmed down. Heavenly Sword Marquis, you win. Your talent is definitely the most terrifying one I have ever seen. I thought you were a genius of the Primal Palace in the Heaven-Cleaving 3 Palaces, but now it seems that you can definitely enter the legendary Chaos Palace, and it's unknown whether you can find a genius like you in the palace. I can't kill you, so you should leave. The Magic Note King had already asked Jian Wushuang to leave. Hearing this, the experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom changed their expressions, but then they felt relieved. Indeed, the Magic Note King had personally made a move, but they all saw that the Magic Note King really could not kill Jian Wushuang. Since he could not kill Jian Wushuang, he naturally had to let him leave. Jian Wushuang shook his head. Lord of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom, you know that I have no enmity with your Magic Note Divine Kingdom. I came to the Magic Note Divine Kingdom to complete a mission of the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance. I accepted a heaven-grade mission to kill 12 true saint experts under the Magic Note Divine Kingdom, but so far, I have only killed 8 of them. Jian Wushuang had already killed 7 people, including Holy Master Huatsang. He had also killed one of the true saints who had surrounded him. However, he still killed 8 people and was 4 short. What do you mean? The Magic Note King stared at Jian Wushuang coldly. My meaning is simple. I haven't completed my task. Of course, I will leave after I complete my task, Jian Wushuang said. You still want to kill 4 true saints in my Magic Note Divine Kingdom? The Magic Note King's voice was filled with anger. That's right. Jian Wushuang looked straight at the Magic Note King without any fear. Seeing this, the Magic Note King could only suppress his anger. He calmly said, Heavenly Sword Marquis, you accepted the mission of the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance for the reward of the mission. How about I give you double the reward of the mission? Under normal circumstances, the Magic Note King would never bow his head. However, he could do nothing about it. He knew that he could do nothing to Jian Wushuang. If Jian Wushuang was determined to kill the experts under the command of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom, he could not stop him. However, the people Jian Wushuang wanted to kill were all experts under his command, and they were all under his protection. Now that there were so many experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom around, he naturally wanted to protect them as much as possible, no matter what method he used. Double the reward. Jian Wushuang's heart was moved. If he completed this mission alone, he could get 150 million sacred elixirs, which was already a large number. If he got double the reward, it would be 300 million sacred elixirs. Such a large amount of sacred elixirs, any rank 3 true saint would feel extremely distressed. Of course, for the Magic Note King, who had created the Great Divine Kingdom and was an ancient 4th level true saint, 300 million sacred elixirs should be nothing. Magic Note King, the conditions you mentioned have indeed tempted me, but unfortunately, I'm in the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance. I don't accept missions. As long as I accept them, I will do my best to complete them. Moreover, I have to complete the mission this time because those people I want to kill deserve to die. Jian Wushuang's voice was cold, his voice reverberated between heaven and earth, and it was obvious that there was no room for negotiation. What a joke. The reason why Jian Wushuang accepted this mission was firstly that it was extremely difficult and stressed him greatly, so he could seek a breakthrough. Secondly, it was because the people who were to be killed in this mission deserved to die. Holy Master Huatsong, who had burned 1/10 of the cultivators in a realm into ashes to refine his natal magic weapon, was so cruel that heaven and earth would not tolerate him. The other people on his kill list were also extremely evil. How could Jian Wushuang show mercy to such a person? Therefore, not to mention the double reward, even if he was given 10 times the reward, he would not change his mind. Heavenly Sword Marquis, you are going too far. The Magic Note King was finally completely furious. He had already lowered himself and was willing to pay the double reward, but the Heavenly Sword Marquis still refused and wanted to kill the true saints under him. How could he not be angry? You're going too far? Humph, so what if I'm going too far? Jian Wushuang's eyes were also cold. Magic Note King, I'm too lazy to talk to you. I must kill the remaining 4 people on the list. If you're sensible, go back to your palace. After killing all 4 of them, I'll leave the Magic Note Divine Kingdom and won't have any dealings with you anymore. But if you are stubborn and try to stop me, do you believe that I will slaughter all the true saint experts in the Magic Note Divine Kingdom? Don't you dare! Magic Note King was furious, and his terrifying divine power suddenly pressed toward Jian Wushuang. Do you think I dare? Jian Wushuang was also surging with divine power. With the support of various secret skills, his divine power was even stronger than Magic Note King's. He was not afraid of the Magic Note King at all. The Magic Note King was so angry that his body was trembling, and he stared at Jian Wushuang with his scarlet eyes. Good. 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 The Magic Note King said 3 good words in a row, and each good was almost gnashing his teeth. Heavenly Sword Marquis, just you wait. I want to see how you kill the person I want to protect. After saying that, Magic Note King turned around and left. As for the dragon imprisoning compass formation that had been sealing the area, it was naturally taken away by Magic Note King. Let's go. Since Magic Note King had left, the immortal saints of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom did not dare to stay any longer. They left as quickly as possible. Jian Wushuang looked at their backs and narrowed his eyes. Magic Note King, I hope you can be smarter. Otherwise. Chapter 3029. Threats. The Magic Note King and the others left directly. Jian Wushuang also left immediately and went to the place where the remaining 4 people on the kill list were. This was an ancient sect, which had existed for a long time. It had existed since the Magic Note Divine Kingdom was founded. There were many experts in the sect, including more than 10 immortal saints. Buzz. Jian Wushuang appeared in the void above the sect and looked down. According to the information given by the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance, one of the 4 remaining experts is staying in the sect all year round. Jian Wushuang moved and directly entered the sect. At the same time, his soul power unscrupulously swept out. Heh. Jian Wushuang frowned when he checked with his soul power. There were more than 10 immortal saints in the sect. Normally, there should be at least 7 or 8 of them staying in the sect. However, in fact, Jian Wushuang only sensed the existence of 5 immortal saints. Only one of them was a true saint and had just made the breakthrough. The other 4 were only false saints. As for the person Jian Wushuang was looking for, he was not in the sect at all. Gone. Jian Wushuang was stunned. Humph. A cold snort, like the wrath of the 9 heavens, suddenly exploded in the sect. Many of the experts and disciples in the sect were instantly shocked. Before long, the few immortal saints appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. Who are you? May I know why you are here? A white-haired elder asked with a humble expression. Let me ask you, where is the 3-winged elder of the Dark God sect? Jian Wushuang asked directly. 3-winged elder. The white-haired elder's expression changed, and then he said, Your Excellency, 3-winged elder left the Dark God sect not long ago. As for where he went, we don't know. He left. Jian Wushuang's expression was cold. He glanced at the experts of the sect, but he did not get angry. Instead, he turned around and left. Soon, he was going to another territory. According to the information provided by the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance, he was going to find the second person on the kill list. When he arrived at the residence of the true saint had also left. It's okay for one person to suddenly leave his residence, but both of them left not long ago. Jian Wushuang's eyes were cold. He already understood why this had happened. Magic note, King, it seems that you want to force me. Jian Wushuang thought quickly and made a decision in his heart. In a towering temple. Lord Wu, we just got the news that Heavenly Sword Marquis went to Heaven Lake Forest after leaving the Dark God sect. However, the Heaven Lake Saint had already received our orders and left, so Heavenly Sword Marquis still failed, an enchanting woman said with a wicked smile. Good. Lord Wu also revealed a cold smile. Heavenly Sword Marquis thinks he can do whatever he wants in the Magic Note Divine Kingdom just because he has some strength that the king can't do anything to him. What a joke. The Magic Note Divine Kingdom is our territory. Here, the king is the god. Even if the king can't kill him, as long as the king doesn't agree, he can't kill the remaining 4 people on the kill list. Lord Wu was very confident. The Magic Note Divine Kingdom was a great divine kingdom in endless territories. Not only was it powerful, but its influence was also extraordinary. After knowing that he could not do anything to Jian Wushuang and that Jian Wushuang would continue to kill the other 4 true saints, the Magic Note King activated his influence to investigate the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance and easily found out the contents of Jian Wushuang's mission. At the same time, he also knew the people on Jian Wushuang's kill list. Therefore, the Magic Note King immediately ordered the remaining 4 to leave their residence and find a place to hide. If these 4 true saints really wanted to hide, Jian Wushuang would not be able to find them. Let's find them. Let Heavenly Sword Marquis find them by himself. We don't need to care about him. Lord Wu sneered. However, just as Lord Wu was feeling proud, Palace Master, something bad has happened. A message suddenly came. The person who had sent this message was a rank 2 true saint under his command. What's wrong? Lord Wu immediately asked. It's Heavenly Sword Marquis. He's killed his way to the Heaven Magus Palace, the rank 2 true saint said anxiously. What did you say? Lord Wu's expression changed drastically. The Heaven Magus Palace was a large-scale sect under the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. And most importantly, the Palace Master of the Heaven Magus Palace was Lord Wu himself. How could it be? There is no one on his kill list in the Heaven Magus Palace. How could he kill his way to the Heaven Magus Palace? Lord Wu shouted with a trace of fear in his eyes. There were many experts in the Heaven Magus Palace. But these experts would not have any room to fight against Jian Wushuang. If Jian Wushuang wanted to, he could kill all the experts in the Heaven Magus Palace alone. Palace Master, Heavenly Sword Marquis did come and kill us 3 true saints. He also left a message. This is just a lesson. In 3 months, he will kill the last 4 people on the list. If one of them escapes, he will kill 10 more true saints in the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. If all 4 escape, he will kill all the immortal saints in the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. The rank 2 true saint said with fear. Hearing this, Lord Wu was immediately shocked and angry. However, besides being shocked and angry, there was more fear. He thought that as long as the 4 people hid and Jian Wushuang could not find them, everything would be fine. But now, it was obvious that Jian Wushuang was not a good person. He was decisive in the killing. He did not need any reason and did not give you any chance. As long as one of the last 4 people on the list escaped, he would have to use the lives of the 10 true saints of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom to make up for it. If all 4 of them escaped, he would go on a killing spree. Madman, this fellow is a complete madman. Lord Wu growled. Lord, Heavenly Sword Marquis is clearly forcing us to hand over those 4 people. If we hand them over, the majesty of the king will probably be instantly swept away. But if we don't hand them over, Heavenly Sword Marquis doesn't seem to be joking. Furthermore, he does indeed have the strength to slaughter many immortal saints. The enchanting woman said solemnly. I know. Lord Wu nodded slightly, and his expression was extremely unsightly. After a while, he stood up. There's no rush. I'll go see the king and let him make the decision. Chapter 30. Countermeasures inside the palace, which was entirely made of lilac crystals. Lord Wu had reported Jian Wushuang's attack on the Heaven Magus Palace to the Magic Note Divine Kingdom, who was waiting outside the palace. In the middle of the palace, the Magic Note King was sitting on a lofty throne with a gloomy face. In front of him, there was a vague figure floating in the air. This hazy figure was obviously the embodiment of the consciousness of an expert. Senior Martial Brother, that heavenly sword Marquis is simply going too far. However, Junior Martial Brother can't do anything to him, so I can only seek your help, Senior Martial Brother, the Magic Note King said solemnly. If others were to hear the Magic Note King's words, they would definitely be shocked. This was because no one in the outside world knew that the Magic Note King had another Senior Martial Brother. After all, he was already a powerful rank 4 true saint, and his senior brother, how powerful was he? Junior brother, I already know about this matter you mentioned. Unfortunately, I can't help you, the hazy figure said directly.
Why?
The Magic Note King asked anxiously. It's very simple. That heavenly sword Marquis' battle strength is no weaker than yours. In a head-on confrontation, even you can't compare to him. Although my strength is slightly stronger than yours, I'm only at the peak of the rank 4. Even if I join hands with you, I can at most suppress him, but I can't kill him. In the end, I can't do anything to him either, the hazy figure said. We can't kill him together, but you have a suppression-type holy treasure. We can suppress him together, the Magic Note King said seriously. He knew his senior brother very well. Not only was he powerful, but he also had a lot of treasures. His senior brother had an extremely rare suppression-type holy treasure, and it was of a high level. As long as they could suppress Jian Wushuang, they did not have to worry about not being able to suppress him. I can suppress him, but I will not help you unless it is a hatred that will not rest until one of us is dead, the hazy figure said. The Magic Note King was stunned. He looked up and asked, Senior brother, are you worried about the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance?
Yes.
The hazy figure nodded. Junior brother, according to what you said, Heavenly Sword Marquis is only a rank 1 true saint, and it is very likely that he has just broken through, but his battle strength is enough to rival a rank 4 true saint. What does this mean? It means that he is a genius, a super genius, a super monster. Such a super monster, and he is from the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance. How can he be easily suppressed by you? But he has not admitted that he is a genius of the Heaven-Cleaving 3 palaces, said the Magic Note King. If he doesn't admit it himself, doesn't that mean that he isn't? The hazy figure shook his head and smiled. No matter what, I have gone to the 3rd heaven to explore, and I have seen a genius of the Heaven-Cleaving 3 palaces. That genius has never admitted to outsiders that he is a member of the Heaven-Cleaving 3 palaces because they want to temper themselves, so they will not easily expose their identity. And the genius I've seen is a 2nd-level true saint, and has been a 2nd-level true saint for a long time, and his battle strength is only comparable to a rank 4 true saint. Such a genius can have a certain status in the 3 palaces, and this Heavenly Sword Marquis has just broken through to the rank 1 true saint, and is already able to fight you head-on, and he even has the upper hand in a head-on fight. Such a terrifying talent is dozens of times more outstanding than the Heaven-Cleaving Palace genius I've seen, hundreds of times. Such a super monster is definitely one of the most terrifying geniuses in the Primal Chaos Palace. Such a super monster is not only highly regarded by the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance, but also to a large extent, the master of the principles of the Alliance has appeared. Those who want to take them as their personal disciples, especially a genius like the Heavenly Sword Marquis, I'm afraid that there are more than 1 or 2 who want to take him as their personal disciple. In other words, not only does Heavenly Sword Marquis have the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance behind him, but he also has the master of a principal master. How can we afford to offend such a person? The Magic Note King's expression turned solemn. Of course, he understood what his senior brother had said. He had asked Jian Wushuang in detail whether he came from the Heaven-Cleaving 3 palaces before making his move. If Jian Wushuang really came from the 3 palaces, he would not dare to kill him. Senior brother, this is just your guess, but what if he is not from the 3 palaces? The Magic Note King was still unwilling to give up. Even if he is not, since he can become a heaven-grade member of the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance, he must have shown his talent on the way to completing the mission. The Heaven-Cleaving Alliance must have noticed him long ago, and such a genius will definitely be noticed by the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance from time to time. If we join hands to suppress Heavenly Sword Marquis, there is still more than an 80% chance that the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance will come to us directly, the shadowy figure said with certainty. In any case, as long as we make a move, the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance will target us no matter what. Moreover, the Heavenly Sword Marquis has only killed a few of your true saints. At most, you will lose some face. It is not a real feud that will not rest until one of us is dead. Why do you have to take such a big risk to deal with him? Junior brother, you have become the king of a region for too long. But you have to remember that after our sect was destroyed and our master died, the two of us became stray dogs. At that time, in order to survive, we used all kinds of methods. How could we still care about our ego? In this world, the weak are prey to the strong. The strong are respected. What is face? Only survival is the most important thing. The blurry figure was very open-minded. It was just a little bit of face. If he lost it, he would lose it. How could he risk his life just for a little bit of face? I understand. The Magic Note King nodded slightly. Obviously, he had been persuaded by the blurry figure. It's good that you understand. The hazy figure said, how about this? Don't you want to lose face? Then do your best to minimize the loss of face. On the surface, you can still protect the 4 people under you unyieldingly. On the other hand, tell your most trusted person to meet Heavenly Sword Marquis. Tell him the location of the 4 people and let him kill them. Hearing this, the Magic Note King could not help but glare. On the surface, he pretended to be very tough in protecting his subordinates. But in the dark, he told the Heavenly Sword Marquis where the 4 people were hiding. This method. That Heavenly Sword Marquis only wants to complete his mission, but he has no intention of becoming your enemy. There's no need for you to lose so much face. As long as you tell him the location of the 4 people, he should be able to take this opportunity to step down, said the hazy figure. Got it. Thank you, senior brother. The Magic Note King nodded. He already knew what to do.